So that's the definition of a square meter. And it says, what's the best way to visualize that? Well, like I guess like Nicholas said there, you can use that as a reference. Um, really, anything that's 1 meter by 1 meter is a good idea. So, or anything that you can fit into that space. So look around your room, look around your home, look outside your home, and think about what object in your home or around your home is the closest to 1 square meter. And I'll do the same. I'm looking around here and I see a little coffee table, and the coffee table is the coffee table has a diameter of just over a meter. So my coffee table thingy here, it's round though. If it has a diameter more than a meter, slightly more than a meter, it's like probably 1.2 meters, then that's probably a square meter. That's the closest thing I have to a square meter in terms of my the things around me. But anyway, I would just say here, what's the best way to visualize it? It's the area that is occupied by a square that is 1 meter by 1 meter. Nothing fancy. That's all it is. This next question potentially would be a good question for a test. But like I said, I don't want to have you having questions that are this this one's a good one for a test, but I don't want to go there with you. I want to have you be doing more of like application questions involving diagrams or calculations, especially when it comes to areas and volumes and estimating and describing. So in this case here, which of these statements is incorrect or are incorrect? So let me know in the chat, and please don't look at the answer key. Let's see if we can get them. Let's see if we can get them here. So we'll go through these systematically if you're not sure how to communicate with me on this. Do you think A is true? Do you think A is true or false? What do you think? Let me know in the chat. Is A true or false? It's false. Yeah, it is false. Can you tell me why it's false? Thank you, Nicholas, and thank you, Cosmo. Tell me why it's false. Well, what's the issue there? I'll describe why it's false below, but I'm going to take your information before I write down my thoughts. If you had a square that's 25 by 25, 25 meters by 25 meters is 625 meters squared. Yeah, you need a square root on that, exactly. So if this was 5 by 5, so based on Nicholas's comment, if this was 5 by 5, it'd be okay. Actually, it's kind of funny because in terms of the common sense approach here, I know that with A and B, one of them is wrong. One of them for sure is wrong because this is 5 by 5 and the other one's 25 by 25. So one of these is gonna be incorrect anyway. B is true because 5 times 5 is 25 and the units are the same. What about C and D? One of these is wrong. Which one of these is wrong? D is wrong. Very good, Marco. So let's describe why D is wrong. I'll type something out there. By the way, when we finish the questions I wanted to cover here, which will be very brief, after that, I'm leaving the rest of the class time open, as I mentioned last time, for students that have questions and want extra help regarding anything. You can ask me questions from anywhere in the books. I have all the books on my desktop, and I can just open up the file and see what you like. 5 is false. Sorry, 5 squares will be false. Let's see why. Because each square is 1 meter by 1 meter. which is 1 meter squared, and 5 of them would have a total area of only 5 meters squared. So that's the reasoning behind that. Okay. Oops. All right, here's the next question. This is actually the last question that I wanted to talk to you about from these exercises. And I'm leaving you the other exercises. I'm encouraging you to try them all. They're more thought experiments than anything else. Very little calculation. But I do want you to go through them, not because I'm testing you on it, but because I want you to have some practice with visualizing and also have a little fun because there's no pressure. I'm not going to test you on it. At least it's no pressure. You can have a little fun, right? So anyway, number 6 is I just chose this one again because it works well, I think, in terms of asking you as an audience. So choose the best option here. A volume of 100 cubic inches is closest to the volume of these other things. Okay, so this kind of reminds me of a game show. Let's make it into a game show where you have to eliminate the wrong answers and as much as possible until, like, it's kind of like you have 2 left. It's like Deal or No Deal almost, right? The briefcases and you throw away some briefcases, something like that. So if you've ever watched Deal or No Deal, in any case, when I'm looking in these things here, any suggestions on which of these answers is complete garbage? Any answers here completely garbage? E, yeah. 100 cubic inches, right? In a bedroom? No way. I mean, a bedroom, child or not child, whatever. A bedroom, you're talking about many, many, many square feet. So, and if you expand that to a volume, it's going to be gigantic. Okay, any other ones? A, B, C, D. Which is another one that's complete garbage? Not for sure is not the answer. Yeah, definitely E. Sorry, C I meant. So you're left with a briefcase, a soda pop, and face tissues. Marco, on the face tissues one, I'm kind of hesitant to throw that one away because I can't 100% say. So Nicholas is saying it's D. I'm kind of on the fence between A and D. I don't think it's a briefcase. I think a briefcase is pretty big. Now you might be like, well, how can you do that? How would you estimate a briefcase? So let's do that. Let's take a briefcase. Okay, I'm going to do the briefcase calculation here. Let's do the briefcase here. We can agree that a briefcase is a rectangular box, approximately. Can someone make up some dimensions for a briefcase? Like how long it is, how wide it is, etc. 12 by 8? Oh, that's a small briefcase. But a briefcase enough to hold a laptop, I guess, right? Okay, we'll do 16 by 10. I'm thinking of like those old leather briefcases, like from like 20, 30 years ago. So 16 by 10, and let's say the height of the briefcase. These are in inches, so let's put the units. I should do a better job of that. By the way, just on those two numbers, forget about the height. Even without the height, that's already 160. But if we add another, let's say 6 inches for the height, now we're talking a lot, right? That's 960. See that? So it's 960 cubic inches. So that one's a no-no. That is a no-no, my friends. Let's get rid of that one. So I'm just gonna do that. See you later. So now it's like the battle of the final two, and we need to figure out, is it the soda pop can or the tissues? So far we have a yes on the tissues. Anybody? Okay, so basically, let me know in the chat. Do you think it's A or D? I think hopefully as an audience we're kind of feeling that it's either A or D. So we got another D. We got two D's. I'm not trying to coerce anybody to saying A. Cameron says it's D as well. I think it's D as well, by the way. So not that that matters. I should keep my mouth shut. Anyway, yeah, I think it's D as well. I mean, let's just do the tissues right now. Let's see a tissue box, okay? So tissues. When I look at a box of tissues, I think of I don't want to grab. I don't have a box of tissues near me, but I'm just thinking about how big it is. What do you think? 8. Let me know if you think this is true. 8 by 4 by. Oh my God, I was gonna say the same thing. Marco, I think that we are on the same wavelength. So if you said 843, I think that. Whoops, even though I can't type correctly. And I'm not looking at any answer key, guys. I don't want to do that because that's not fun. So 12 times 8 is 96. Hey, look at that. 96 cubic inches. Not bad, eh? I think we're pretty clear that it's the tissues. Anyway, I hope that you had some fun with those few questions there. And if you enjoy doing those questions, then because the assignment I'm giving you next week is really, really easy, I encourage you to spend some of the time that you would have spent on the assignment doing a little bit more of these questions. Like I said, just relaxed, no stress, not for test or anything. Let me know, is your schedule busy next week? Do you have a test or midterms next week? How's your testing schedule next week? Yeah. Okay, good. So I'm seeing busy week. So that's good. So this is another reason why I made the assignment really easy. So when you see the assignment for this course, it's going to be like drive-through. You'll spend more time in the drive-through at Tim Hortons than you will doing this assignment or whatever drive-through you like. I'm telling you right now, you will spend less time on this assignment than you will in the drive-through, okay? Anyway, so what I want to do with you now is actually a couple of I want to do one more estimating question with you, but I want to also do something. It just came to my mind right now, and I'll do it first. I want to show you something that's not in the book, and it's not intended to be in the book, because it's not really something that fits in units and measurements like what we're thinking. What I want to show you is how powerful it is for us as a group to figure things out versus individually trying to do things sometimes. So this is an exercise that I do in class, and it doesn't matter which course I teach, because all the courses that I teach are either math or physics at the college, and I've taught maybe I think 10 different types of courses. Anyway, any course that I teach, I always throw this up in class at some point, and in this unit, this one fits really well. So what we're going to do now is use our collective thinking. There's 19 people here. We're going to use our collective thinking to make an estimate of something, and then once we finish the estimate, we're gonna figure out how close our estimate is to the true answer. So how does that sound? It's a little bit different, than what you might be thinking today in math class. Who remembers as a kid? Who has ever had this experience? Maybe it was in school, like for something. Let's say that there was a jar full of jelly beans or a jar full of those little gumballs, and then whoever guesses how many there are in the jar wins the prize. Who's ever had to guess something, number of things in a jar, and then whoever gets it right wins the prize? Okay, Marco has. Anybody else has? I remember it as a kid. I tried to win something one time I think I was in grade 4 or something. Didn't work out. Thank you, Joseph. Anybody else had to guess something like that? So just Marco and Joseph. This is pretty. Oh, Okay. I can teach you how to win. Let me teach you how to win that, okay? If you want to win that prize, You know how everybody writes their number down? Like let's say someone writes 100 and then 200 and then whatever, like that. Let's say people make their guesses. What you do is get your calculator and add up everybody's guesses and average them. So for example, if those are the previous 5 people's guesses, take all those numbers and just average them. So that's how you do that. But I'm not going to do gum balls because that's not going to be as entertaining as what you're going to see right now. You have to, though, you have to promise yourselves and promise me that you're not going to use Google. Do not Google, do not cheat, because I want it to be a very honest experiment, okay? I promise I won't cheat either. So I'm going to write down a country in the world. It's just random. I'm literally going to just I'm just going to think of a random country or a random city, and we're all going to estimate. Each person, I want there's 19 people. I want as many people as possible to estimate how far we are from that city or location in kilometers. So I'll give you an example. Don't do this one. This is not the question. But if I wrote Montreal, okay, then I would say, I don't know, 450 kilometers. You follow what I'm saying? And maybe Norris says it's 480. Sorry, Norris, I'm just assuming that you said 480. And then Cosmo says it's 472 or something, okay? So forget Montreal, because Montreal, I think we all have a good idea where Montreal is. That's pretty boring. Nice city though, but boring as an exercise. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give you a city that's really far. Are you ready to see? Again, I'm not making this one up. Like I'm not rehearsing this at all. Sydney, Australia. I don't honestly know how many kilometers that is. I do not know how many kilometers away Sydney, Australia is. Everybody, think of a number. There, you see Marco dropped 8,000. I was going to say 10,000. Again, unrehearsed. I'm going to put 10,000. Marco puts 8,000. Nicholas is 12,000. Joseph is 11,000. Let's get some more people. I want at least 10, okay? Once I get to 10 numbers, I think I'll stop because then it's an easy average. Thanks, everybody. I'm sorry I'm not saying your names, but I'm acknowledging that you are giving really nice numbers. Okay, so we have 8 numbers there. Can I have 2 more people guess? 14? And anybody else? Any other volunteers? Thank you, Shamar. Nice. And okay, Norris. Norris already made a guess, so I'm going to reject your second guess, Norris. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask somebody, can they add these up on their calculator and average them, please? Because I don't have my calculator beside me. So let's average those. Just average the thousands. I got 11,200. No, 11,200, 11,300. Did you get 11,300? I'm doing it in my head though, but I probably screwed it up. I was trying to do it in my head to be cool. That's probably way off. I think I added it too fast. No, it's probably more like anyway, anybody have a number on that? Anybody have averaged those numbers? 12,200. See, I was off by 100. Damn it. I'm sorry, off by 1,000. Okay, now can someone Google Maps? What's the actual answer? What's the actual answer? Can someone hook us up with the answer? Marco, I don't remember which guess you had. I'm gonna look up here. You had 8,000. What was the answer actually? Was it 8,000 something? Anybody have the distance to Sydney, Australia? 15.5. Not bad. Not bad. I mean, you might have said that with an Australian accent. Not bad, anyway, if you calculate that as a percentage, we were approximately 80% of the value. That's not bad. Think about that. Without picking up a map, without looking at a globe, without anything, just based on sheer intuition, you were within 80% of the answer. But notice that people were not throwing numbers like this. Nobody was throwing a number like that. But even if they did, for those people that might throw a big number, there's going to be people that are going to throw a small number, and it's going to balance out anyway. So I just wanted to show you that experiment that in terms of a team environment, when you're doing calculations and estimating, you have an answer in your head, but don't don't discard what people around you are saying. It's important to really get that. So in this class, who's our geography experts then? It looks like Shamar. Shamar came in clutch at the last minute, and Joseph. Joseph, well done. So we got a couple of all-stars here. So anytime I'm lost, I'm just gonna email Joseph, maybe Shamar as a backup, because Shamar was the second answer. Sorry, Shamar. I gave you you're like 1B. You're 1A and 1B, like the goalies in hockey or whatever. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so that was that first thing I want to say to you is just a little fun estimating example, and you can try this. You can try this with anything. You can try this with anything, and it's funny how collective intelligence can work like that. So the story, I promised you a really boring story. It'll be a very quick story. So I'm gonna put the camera on so you don't think I'm lying. It's like when you see me, it's not a light. Like you can tell that I'm not lying. So I'm having coffee with a friend of mine, my friend Roman. So Roman is he's in like finance. He deals with stocks and things like that, right? He's a investor, stuff like that, right? So we're sitting having coffee, and he's like, John, you're a bright guy, whatever. You're good at math and all that stuff. He goes, just out of the blue, literally, we're sitting at a coffee shop. He goes, how many ping pong balls can you fit in an airplane? And I just looked at him like, buddy, are you like, what's up with you? Like, why are you asking me such a weird question? See, that's actually the question he asked me, but he didn't say it like a textbook. He said, hey, how many ping pong balls can you fit in a 747? That's exactly what he asked me. So and he goes, no pen, no paper, just do whatever you can in your head. So I sat there at the coffee shop for about 3 or 4 minutes, and I was thinking about like what an airplane is and how big it is and blah blah blah, and I came up with a number. And I go to him, was I close? He goes, you weren't that close. You were good. He goes, but you can get a job on Wall Street. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, when you go to Wall Street, there's a bunch of questions in the past that they used to ask people to see if they were really good with numbers and estimating. And one of the questions is estimate how many ping pong balls you can fit on a 747. So we're going to do that now together. But we're not going to do it by guessing numbers like we did the previous one. We're going to work together and estimate that by using we're going to agree on certain things in terms of the dimensioning and such. So anyway, I want to spend like maybe 5 or 10 minutes on this, and then the remaining time is open to questions. Has anybody ever heard of this question? Who's ever seen this type of question before? Just in conversation or in an article, maybe, or in a magazine? Okay, well, we'll try it out anyway, see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. So can someone estimate, again, no cheating, how big do you think a 747? I put Airbus A380 because that's more contemporary. That's more of a recent airplane. Although from my knowledge, I do believe that these airplanes are really close in terms of their length. I'm guessing the 747 is probably like a few or maybe 4 or 5 meters shorter. But I remember reading somewhere that they're virtually the same length. Anyway, can someone make an estimate of how long the Airbus is? I don't know how many they seat off the top of my head, okay? Okay, so Marco's saying 350. You know what? I'm feeling good with that. I was gonna say around 200 I was gonna say around 250 feet. I think 380 might be a bit too long, but look, let's take the first 5 people's answers. So I'm saying 280. I'm saying more like 230. 230. Okay, and then Marco is 350, 260. Okay, so I'm going to take everybody's answers and kind of massage them. And we're going to just use one significant digit. We're going to say it's 300 feet long. Okay, so we're going for the airplane right now. So the airplane is 350 feet long. What do you think in terms of the cabin, what do you think the radius is, or the diameter of the cabin? What's the cabin diameter? Or I should say fuselage, sorry. 15 feet, 20 feet? Yeah, I think 20 feet's a good number. 15 feet's a good number. Just for significant figures, if you don't mind, Marco, I'm going to put 20 just for the sig figs. Keep it simpler. And then we can say that the radius is 10 meters. Sorry, 10 feet. 10 feet seems a bit too small. I'm trying to think of that right now. No, 10 feet seems about right. Okay, so we're gonna have a flip-flop here but anyway, I do think that the length is less than 300. So if we underestimate the radius, that's okay. What's the volume of a cylinder? You don't have to know volume of a cylinder yet. We're gonna do this stuff, I think, in a future chapter. But for today, I mean, you know what a volume of a cylinder is? Who remembers? Pi something. Again, I'm not testing you on this right now, but I'm just for knowledge. Okay, it's pi r squared h. Yeah, pi r squared times the height. So by the height we mean this. Okay, I'll just put the h equals here, and then this is r. So let's make, again, we're doing an estimate here, right? This is supposed to be done in your head. We're trying to do this in our head. So you might be like, John, there's no way that I can do this all in my head. We're going to use easy numbers. What's an easy number for pi? What's an estimate of pi? One digit estimate for pi. 3. And then we have 10 squared. I'm going to put 100 there. I think that's okay if I square it. You know, we don't have to show me squaring it. So it looks like we have 3 with 4 zeros, and then a 3, so we have a 9. So it looks like we have 90,000 cubic feet. Okay, so that's what we're working with in terms of the actual volume of the fuselage. Now I'm assuming that there's no seats in it, so we can just stuff it like crazy with all the ping pong balls. Can someone tell me, do not cheat again, estimate what the diameter of a ping pong ball is? What's the diameter of a ping pong ball? One and a half inches. I'm trying to hold my hand out. Diameter though, eh? I think diameter would be more like maybe 2 or 3 inches. Maybe 2.5 inches. I don't know. Maybe I'm way off. Yeah, that's too big, right? How about 2 inches? Would you want to say 1.5 inches or 2 inches? I'm not trying to force a number on people. Okay, everybody say 1.5. Look, I'm not going to argue with anybody, okay? 1.5 inches. Now, if we want to do the volume, you probably don't know the volume of a sphere as fast as the volume of the other one, but it's 4/3 pi r cubed. Anyway, as an estimate here, you don't have to be this fancy because obviously that's very difficult to hammer out. The one thing I will do, you see the 4/3 in the pi? We know that pi is equal to approximately 3. And we also know that 4/3 times 3 would be 4. So this is approximately 4r squared, 4r cubed, sorry. As a quick estimate. So the reason that I was trying to say for you to use the number 2 is because I can't do 1.5 cubed fast in my head. So I'm going to have to do this one cheaply. And what I'm going to do is I know that 1.5 times 1.5 is 2.25. If I take 2.25 and I do 1/2 of that, I'm just going to pretend it's 2. And then that becomes 3. And 3 times 4 is 12. What I did there is complete balderdash. I'm just making up something. But anyway, I think that's going to be 12 inches cubed. And that's way off probably. Actually, let's just do it this way. What am I doing? 1.5 of 4. Yeah, 1.5 is too big. Oh, because this is the diameter. This is the radius. My apologies, guys. This should be 0.75. That was silly of me. It's the radius is 0.75. Almost messed that up. So this one you could do in your head probably better then. So if I do 3/4 of 4 and I do it 3 times over, so 3/4 of 4 is going to be equal to 3, and then I do 3/4 of that, and it's going to be not a good number. And if I do 3/4 of that, okay, so now we're just getting into garbage numbers. It's 27 divided by 16, which is roughly 1.5. Maybe we'll just say 2. Just say 2 here, okay? The number doesn't really, it's not a big deal what the number is because you're just making up estimates like all the time anyway. Okay, so what you want to do now is take 90,000 cubic feet and divide by 2 cubic inches. And anyway, those units do not match. Do you remember that when you want to go from feet cubed to inches cubed, you have to multiply by 12 cubed. So 12 cubed, try not to use a calculator here. 12 times 12 is 144, times 12 is 1,000. I'm just going to estimate that as 1,500. I really don't want to cheat. I really do not want to cheat here because then I'm not doing you a service. So if we do 1,500 times 90,000, 90,000 times 1,500, 9 times 5, so that's 135 for 9 times 15. 9 times 15 is 135 with 2 zeros, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, and we're going to divide by 2. So what's the answer? What's the answer here? So that's going to be like 140. So I'm going to say 70 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the final answer based on the estimates. What's that? What's that answer, Marco? What's 67.5 meters? Oh shoot, the M is million. Thank you. No. I appreciate that. I'm just throwing away significant digits here. That's why. We can say 68 million. That's fine. Hey, can someone Google? Can someone Google how many ping pong balls fit in a 747? By the way, I do remember the answer that I told my friend Roman. The answer that I told my friend Roman, and that was years ago, was 25 million. That's what I had in my head back then, without paper or anything. Did anybody Google how many ping pong balls is 22.8? Is that the answer? Wow. I think that's why my friend Roman said I should change careers and move to Wall Street. I'll just say here the accepted answer. I don't know accepted by who, but accepted answer.